There was a time when there wasn't a term house music or techno music or warehouse or garage or happy house or all this other shit. It was just music.
What we're gonna do right here is go back.
In the late 80s, house in America was still an underground music. In the country of its birth, radio stations were firmly segregated and played either rock, country and western, or R&B and hip-hop. If you liked up-tempo dance music, house music, you had to go to a club to hear it.
House is a big part of club culture today, you know, and for the last, 15 years. House music, all of it wasn't on the radio, you know, but this was a scene that was developing all around the world, you know, that started in Chicago and New York. It's just a feeling in the clubs that you get from these drive-in tracks, these great tracks, great songs, great feelings, some of them had great lyrics. They weren't all instrumentals.
I remember every person in the club vocally responding to records. Imagine that. Imagine being a club, even if it's like 500 people. When everybody's vocally responding to almost every song the DJ plays, that's energy, man.
At clubs like the Paradise Garage in New York, DJs were making converts to the house scene.
But I had a friend that turned me on to it. He was a house head. So he would have all these people over there that hated house, but he'd be playing it and he'd be jacking, you know, dancing like, move your body, rock. He's just looking at him like, this guy's retarded. And it took me a long time. It took me like late 88 for me to really start getting into house. But I caught on to Todd Terry.
Known to his fans as God, Todd Terry brought a hard-hitting hip-hop sensibility to the basic house sound.
It was like, I like house now. I only like Todd, but I like house. It was just energizing. It was just like, your cats would be just bug into it, you know? So that was like, that was my introduction to house. Gritty, raw, in-your-face house. I used to see guys, I thought they were gonna rip off their dreads. They were like on the floor like this, like almost to the point in tears, over a record. No drugs, you know what I mean? That's house.
Todd Terry's quick-fire samples and rugged bass lines forged a blueprint for house that's still being followed today.
Most people's style, even like if you want to look at who's hot, like Daft Punk or like anybody that disco loops, Todd did that first too. So disco looping, Todd did that first. Let me put a rock sample on a house beat. Oh, Todd did that already too. You know, it's not much left Todd hasn't done.
While Todd was undoubtedly a pioneer, it was only on the other side of the Atlantic that house had a mainstream audience. Over in the UK, by the end of 1989, house was top of the pops. Italian producers Black Box sampled disco classic Love Sensation and got a model called Katrina to mime Lolita Holloway's vocals.
When we finished the record, Miko said, what do you think we shall call the record? Well, she says, right on time, all the time, so that must be, you know, it's the chorus, so we must call it something like that. Yeah, but how do you spell it? And then I said, well, it seems clear to me. She says ride on time, R-I-D-E. So in fact, I realized a few years later, obviously speaking a bit about English, that she wasn't saying right on time, she was saying right on time.
It hogged the #1 spot for 6 weeks. But away from commercial chart hits, British producers were already creating an awesome range of new house styles.